Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. I've just been joined by Kingsley. Kingsley, nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Nice to be here this morning.
Well, let's get started from tennis, where British number one Imara Raducanu has enjoyed her first victory since an early exit from the Australian Open. Imara Raducanu, so much hope on her, but she crashed out very early at the Australian Open. Building up for the next Grand Slam?
Yeah, well, I think she just have to build up for the next Grand Slam with the WTA 250 tournament,
in Romania.
And Romania, down there. It's been, of course, a disappointing one. And not only that, she lost that early at the Australian Open, she also parted ways as well, with her coach. I think this is the 10th manager she'll be working with, or she actually parted ways with, since winning her last, Grand Slam. So it's not been a rosy for Imara Raducanu. I think she should just sit down and look at, what is really the problem. Is it that the coaches she's been hiring are not good enough, or she herself, she's not good enough, at the end of the day. So at this point in time, it shouldn't be about hiring and firing managers whenever you lose in a major tournament. Imara Raducanu should be able to sit and reflect and think of what, of course, is really her problem and try to position herself well, because even though she may maybe get the best of manager, probably she will still continue with this poor performance. As for me, for what I've seen over time, I think it's not an issue of the managers not being good enough. It's Imara Raducanu herself being able to position herself well, worked very well, of course, with the coach, and see how you can improve, of course, on your game.
Imara Raducanu has advice from Kingsley to improve on herself and fire less managers. It's 10 in just about 3 years or so when she came onto the scene. It's quite a number of managers to be fired by an athlete. And she has Belinda Bencic up next.
That's going to be another tough, opponent for her. Taking a look at Bencic prowess at the Australian Open, she had a very, very impressive, performance. Take a look at the rankings yesterday. She was actually being ranked, I think, number 9. She has really improved in her ranking, despite the fact that, yes, she went for maternity leave, came back and still was able to put up that impressive performance. So I think Bencic is really going to give her a very tough time, at this point in time. But we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Maybe Emma is just trying to rejuvenate herself, and put up a very impressive performance going forward. So we'll see if she can maybe skate through as well ahead of Belinda Bencic.
Well, this Romania, the event is just 250 points, and how much is that as compared to the Grand Slam of 2,000 points where she lost out so early? But every point is an additional, you want to say?
Yeah, every point is an additional, but you talk about the 250, it's not really, of course, much high down there. For me, I just think it's just a warm-up tournament. You just pick up the points, and then try to see how you can, aim higher, especially for the Grand Slam, to see how you can build, of course, your points, at the end. It's good maybe for Imara Raducanu, who has not been fantastic, of course. This is a tournament she can use to keep herself alive, try to position herself, and her confidence level, going forward.
Let's bring you the excitement from basketball, and of course the top level basketball, the NBA, is still on and at crucial stages now. I must tell you, in Detroit, the Pistons overpowered Denver Nuggets 124 points to 121. Denver Nuggets need to up their game.
Yeah, it was, of course, really an impressive one for the likes of Detroit Pistons. You talk about, Denver Nuggets, they had a very impressive, performance. And if you take a look at it, it's been, of course, an impressive one for Detroit Pistons. They are top there at the Eastern Conference. They've been very, very fantastic. So far, 37 games won, and they've just lost, 12, and topping the Eastern Conference. So this just proves that for me, I think it's a surprising season for me, looking at how, of course, they really, really perform, ahead of other teams.
In Indiana, Pacers were very slow. They lost to Utah Jazz 122 points to 131. The Jazz from Utah making Indiana Pacers very, very slow.
Of course, Indiana Pacers, they've not been fantastic. They are seated bottom of that Eastern Conference, group, let's say table down there. They've not been that fantastic. I don't really know what's really the problem. The players have not been living up to expectation. For them, of course, to sit at the bottom of the table, which really shows that they've not, of course, been really fantastic. So for me, I wasn't really surprised, because if you take a look at their last 5 games, they have not, of course, been that, fantastic. And Auto Jazz, were able, of course, to take off the day.
We're talking about teams that are not fantastic. Washington Wizards weren't fantastic because they lost at home. Out there in 101 point to 132, scored by the New York Knicks. This is a massive away victory for New York Knicks.
Yeah, for me, it didn't come as a surprise, because Wizards on the other side as well that have not been that fantastic over time. You take a look at it. They've lost 38 of their games so far this season and just managed to win 12. So you could see how poor, they've performed. For Knicks have been very, very fantastic. So I knew that it was a very crucial away victory, for them, early hours of today, when I saw that particular encounter.
Meanwhile, Brooklyn Nets lost at home as well. Lakers beating them by 109 points, 125 points to Brooklyn Nets 125 points going to the way of Lakers, while Brooklyn Nets had just 109 points. Brooklyn Nets losing at home is one issue, but LeBron James, we understand will still stay with Lakers till the end of this season. And that's the good news, and maybe that will have been the reason behind a successful away win for them out there in this fixture.
Yeah, so far so good. I think it's been impressive, for LeBron and Lakers. They really show much, resilience this season. We take a look at the Western Conference. They are somewhere on the fifth down there on the log, with about 31 wins and just 20 losses. But so far so good. We really want to commend them. The brilliance of James as well in that team has also really given them that high inspiration to be able to go all the way. So you take a look at it, LA Lakers are another contending side, in that Western Conference. So it's going to be a thing. We'll just look forward to see how James probably will end his career, if he's going to end his career down there at the LA Lakers.
41-year-old LeBron James, and I can't believe it, 23 years in basketball top level. You can hardly find some player that lasts that long in the NBA.
Yeah, it takes a whole lot. All right, that's over 40. You're still pushing. You're still, of course, putting up the point numbers. Are still there speaking for you. I think it's been an impressive one for LeBron James. His influence, his impact so far in the game, has been very, very, fantastic. We'll just look forward to see how it goes, for the man. We'll see if he can, of course, be able to maybe get something huge for the LA Lakers before you call it a quit.
LA Lakers needs to tap on the experience of LeBron James, because right now they drop from number 2 to number 6 in the Western Conference, and they look for the experience of LeBron James to propel them back to the very top in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, Miami Heat was another home loser in the NBA a few hours ago. They lost 115 to 127 points to Atlanta Hawks. Dallas Mavericks lost at home as well. Boston Celtics beating them there by 100 to 110 points. Milwaukee Bucks made all the difference, beating Chicago Bulls by 131 points to 151 points. Gianni Antetokounmpo there.
Of course, was a very impressive one, for Gianni Antetokounmpo, and his men down there. It was, of course, a very impressive one for them. So far, so good. I think the Bucks, they've not really disappointed. We've always seen them, pushing up and trying to ground out the results. I think for me, it's been an impressive one so far for them at the Eastern Conference.
Oklahoma City Thunders beat Orlando Magic by 128 points to 92. Golden State Warriors and the Philadelphia 76ers should have concluded by now. Do you have the result, Kingsley?
I will try to track that one. Not really. Of course, it's when I saw that one, it was, I think, Philadelphia trying to put up a very impressive one. So we'll see how it is. But I think that game ended. Philadelphia, of course, actually got a win, from that one against, Golden State. Where I think it ended 114 to, I think, 94 in favor of Philadelphia 76ers down there.
Well, now quickly, let's go to football. And of course, the biggest football story making rounds right now is the Carabao Cup final appearance of Arsenal. Last night, in the return leg fixture at the Emirates Stadium, they beat Chelsea by 1 goal to nothing. A 98-minute winner from the foot of one of former Chelsea players,
Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz. Aggregate scoreline 4-2, and Arsenal is in the final of the first of their, let's say, four-pronged attack this season. How did you see that fixture at the Emirates Stadium last night?
I think it was a highly contested encounter. We saw Arsenal, pressing all through. But Chelsea, of course, they were able to get themselves the late minutes of that particular encounter. We saw them firing and firing, trying to see how to break the defense of Arsenal, maybe to get a goal. But it wasn't coming at all until we saw that late minutes, counter-attack. And Kai Havertz, of course, was able to do the needful yesterday. And, of course, it was really an impressive victory for Arsenal. I think this is a very good season for Mikel Arteta and his men. As it stands now, they're in chance, of course, to maybe claim a quadruple this season, maybe a treble or a quadruple, because take a look at it, they are in the four competition, so far, and they've been doing very, very well. So let us see how it goes for Arsenal. This might just be their season, taking a look at, how far they've performed.
Carabao Cup final comes up in March, and Arsenal have qualified already. Talking about Arsenal and Chelsea, this is Chelsea's 10th attempt of trying to beat Arsenal, but they have not been able to do that in all competitions.
Of course, it's been an impressive one, talking about that particular record, especially, for Arsenal. Arsenal have beaten Chelsea, I think, this season twice. They beat them first in the Carabao Cup first leg, and also beat them as well at Emirates as well. I think the first game they played was a draw. So it's been difficult for Chelsea, trying to, beat Arsenal, especially, at the Emirates Stadium. It was, of course, a very high level of brilliance, from Arsenal. Despite the impressive record of the new coach of Chelsea, Liam Rizzo, who was about, I think, gotten about 7 games or 6 games unbeaten run. But yesterday, he was still, of course, mellowed down by Mikel Arteta, and his men yesterday.
Let's see who Arsenal will play later the match for the Carabao Cup final. Will it be Newcastle or Manchester City later tonight? We will see that fixture and who will get it. Join us at 6 p.m. Nigerian time for you to have a clear look at who could win that fixture later tonight. But there were some other cup finals across Europe last night. In the, I think we saw Barcelona beat Albacete by 2-1 last night. So now I think they are into the semi-final.
Yeah.
Then we equally saw action in Germany as well. Yes, the DFA Cup. We saw Bayer Leverkusen hammer Sepoli by 3 all-reply goals. In Coupe de France, in France, it was Reims 3, Le Mans 0. Same scoreline we saw between Olympique Marseille and Rennes. Marseille beating Rennes by 3-0. Nothing. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. But there was one Italian Serie A fixture last night, Kingsley. We saw Bologna lose at home. AC Milan better than them by 3-0.
Yeah, of course. AC Milan so far so good. I think they've been impressive. Of course, I expected AC Milan to have gotten a win, in that encounter against Bologna, despite the fact that was a tough encounter. But you take a look at AC Milan and Bologna this season, you want to give AC Milan, of course, to go ahead in that one.
Well, we're talking about cup finals. We told you that later tonight, I think 9 p.m. Nigerian time, it will be Inter Milan versus, it will be Manchester City versus Newcastle. In the Coppa Italia in Italy, there will be a quarterfinal fixture between Inter and Torino coming up at 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Then in the DFA Poker Cup, that's in Germany, there will be another fixture at the quarterfinal. Holstein Kiel will take on FV Stuttgart at about 7:45 p.m. Nigerian time. A lot of encounters in the cup matches. Lorraine will take on Paris FC in yet another fixture, while Lyon will take on Laval. Nice will take on Montpellier, while Toulouse will take on Amiens. Not forgetting the fixture between Troyes and Lens. It looks like we'll have to wrap it up here. And Kingsley, transfer season effectively closed in England. Any big news?
Yeah, I think so far so good. Not seeing much, down there in England, apart from Manchester City signing Mark Guehi, Antonio Semedo, and they're still trying to see how to make up, things, with these players. But I think for me, one of the most interesting parts of the transfer deadline day was that Ademola Lookman, of course, moving down to, Atletico Madrid was, of course, a very, very impressive move, for the young man, and we look forward to see what comes up down there at Atletico Madrid for him.
Well, at the conclusion, we saw Angel Gomez come all the way from France, Marseille. He will now be a player for Wolves as well, and let's hope that he will bring his contribution to Wolves in there. Then there is George moving from Chelsea to Everton. Trio George, this is a new Everton player. Adam Armstrong has completed a permanent switch from Southampton to Wolves as well in an undisclosed fee. Nelson Agulo signed from Sunderland from Anderlecht. That's quite a lot, 17.5 million pounds sterling involved in this war. That will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. We'll definitely be back at 6 p.m. like I told you, when we'll take a look at the cup finals coming up later tonight, especially the encounter between Manchester City and Newcastle. Who gets to the final to face Arsenal? Will it be Manchester City or Newcastle? Quite a difficult call to make, if you ask me, at this point in time. If you were sometime there last year, maybe year before last, you think Manchester City will run through with this one, but Newcastle have a different idea that we will see later tonight. Until we come your way again at 6 p.m., remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on the Atlantic Television Network.